We know y'all want actionable strategies to support literacy improvement through the science of reading, no matter where you are in your science of reading journey.
Effective communication really is at the heart of everything we do as educators. What he kind of re-emphasizes for us to think about, however, is our schools are only as good as the conversations within them, right? So effective communication being something that's extremely important to all of us as leaders.
When we started this journey over 4 years ago, we started small. When we started into science of reading, we really looked at our data and the learning and said, okay, here's where we can start. And we noticed there were holes in this curriculum resource that we had as a district. And so specifically in the areas of phonemic awareness and phonics. And so therefore, we came together and wrote our own word rec routines to make sure that they were aligned. But then it didn't stop there.
I think sort of one of the things to recognize is that the majority of sort of implementation processes tend to fail. And those that don't fail tend to not be sustained over time, right? I think with working within schools, we have a very sort of like interesting phenomenon due to the structure of the academic year, where we sort of have this built-in like annual like amnesia period that we need to make sure we work through when like lots of things can be lost, both among students and also among educators. And one of the things that we're often trying to do is to kind of push through that summer before we can ever consider anything to be even sort of like at the beginning of a sustainment period. Often people's plates need to be cleared in order to make room for new things because time is finite, and it's often very difficult to implement something new without pruning something old.
Furthermore is really leveraging how we're utilizing our coaches. Are they, sharing collaborative learning visits across sites for us to show us how we are championing transformation across the district, and not just keeping those best practices to ourselves, but really being able to kind of champion what that looks like across the board. So coaching, we hear if it's done well, it's extremely effective. And it really points to that term of sustainability especially for the science of reading journey.
But I also think we need to make sure that our district leaders, our principals and APs too, are well-versed in this work and trained, right? Because coaches can do that, but we also lean to them in the building to be that, instructional leader as well. It's just equally important that when we are speaking the same language, we are receiving the same training so that we can identify what we're watching and seeing. It's so important. Thinking about keeping momentum, getting in the classroom and watching instruction. That is where the trust and the coaching really takes effect.